Hello, I'm Ed Reed, the editor of E-FWD, and I'm here today with Michael Love from Opito. Michael, hi, how are you doing? How's Offshore Europe for you?
Thank you, Ed. Great to be here. I think it's obvious that there's been a great buzz around Offshore Europe this year. I think for me, what it's really done is confirm what a lot of us knew. This whole transition and expansion process needs to be an and. We all need to come together. It's all energy. It can't be exclusionary. We need to work together.
Absolutely, a great message to start with. I think and it does run through every conversation, doesn't it? But tell me about Opito. What are you guys doing? What's your interests?
Absolutely. So Opito is the global not-for-profit skills and standards body for the energy industry. So we've been around now for over 50 years, and we work on behalf of industry to keep workers safe and skilled. That is our mission, that is our purpose, that has never changed. We work with a broad spectrum of stakeholders, trade associations, trade unions, government entities as well, really to set and design standards, qualifications, training interventions to help ensure consistency and safety. A common misconception is that we're a training provider. We're not. We accredit training providers to deliver our standards, and we're very fortunate to work with a very eclectic mix of training providers, more than 250 currently across the world in more than 50 countries. And we're very proud that more than 500,000 people every year are registered to Opito certifications and courses. And I think perhaps the most important bit, Ed, is our STEM agenda. We are a not-for-profit. We reinvest our surplus revenue into STEM activity, whether that's sponsoring science centres, whether it's contributing to curriculum development. Even today, I'm pointing off screen like people can see me, but at the Future Talent Hub, getting school kids in so that they can understand the opportunity that's out there and to help shape their future in a positive and meaningful way.
And I think I'm right in saying you're on a Future Talent panel this morning.
That's right.
What was it like? What was the conversation?
I was so pleased to be asked to be a part of it, Ed, because we've partnered with not just big names like BP and OE UK to bring the Future Talent Hub to life, but also a critical part, TechFest. And one of my enduring memories from my time at school was TechFest and how it allowed me to experience things that I'd never really thought might interest me before. So for me, being able to sit in front of 50, 60 school children, share some of my experiences, get them excited for what the future holds, was just an unbeatable experience. It was brilliant.
And how did it go down? To be honest, I think I'd be terrified of being in front of that many children.
Yeah, I think they probably ask more difficult questions than a lot of the adults here. I think it's actually a really good. It's a sobering experience speaking in front of children because they will not pull their punches.
Yeah.
They are very intelligent, and they cut through a lot of the wishy-washy language that is quite often so rife in conversations like this. So very engaged, a real desire to be here. And that's partly why this year we committed with our partners to not just having Education Day on the Friday, but stretching that across the entire week so that multiple schools, multiple students could all come and get the benefit of the hustle and bustle that is this conference.
Yeah, and there is an amazing amount of sort of hubbub around us. There's a real sense of energy. But I suppose looking forwards, because at E-FWD we're always thinking about growth. Looking forward, 12 months down the line, where are you going to be?
So we have done a lot of work recently with our partners, the likes of the Chamber of Commerce, OE UK, to really try and understand and link people, place, industry, business, all these core pillars to the industrial strategy and make sure that before that was published, it reflected a lot of what we feel needed to be included. We are concerned, I think, Ed, in honest terms, that we risk offshoring our workforce, our supply chain. I think we still feel that more needs to be done to reframe the perception of the sector to really appeal to the broadest spectrum of young people we can. They are the future. We need to get them engaged. We've gone some way towards doing that across this conference and the other work we're doing. There's still a lot more to be done. I would like in 12 months' time to see, and this is probably a cliche that you've heard many times, stability. That's very important. The organizations that we work with and that we represent are not budgeting and planning on annual cycles. They are looking 10, 15 years into the future. They need certainty on what the policy and fiscal environment will look like before they can commit to some of these projects. And a lot of these organizations, whilst they may have roots in oil and gas, have already diversified into carbon capture, into hydrogen. We keep hearing from people that we need a new supply chain. We don't. We have the supply chain here. We have the skills here. It's just a shortage of people and consistency that's hindering progress.
I mean, I think that kind of question around kind of complexity and that kind of and rather than or is kind of at the heart of everything.
Yeah.
But it also feels like a really hard message to get across, right?
Yes,
it feels like
if
you can say oil is bad and renewables are good, that's kind of quite straightforward.
Yeah.
But actually saying, there's the supply chain, it's mixed, we need both. How do you move that conversation ahead?
I think where we as an industry sometimes fall down is explaining things in a digestible and understandable way to the general public who are not as entrenched in all these issues and challenges as we are. I think this needs to come back to the point of energy security is national security, and the fact that from Opito's perspective, our human capital is our most precious asset. Those are two key aspects that I think can dispel the oil and gas versus renewables versus hydrogen, however it's framed, because ultimately we need all of them if we want to remain globally competitive, globally secure, and ultimately get energy bills down, which is what the general public want. But there's a disconnect between what they're seeing and what they're experiencing. And we need to explain that better, and then we need to actually act on fixing it. And
so for Opito, what are you doing next to help deliver that changing conversation?
Well, Ed, I think we pride ourselves on always being on the move. It's a busy industry. We're an international organisation. We always make sure we have the right presence and involvement in key conferences like this. But I would flag Opito Global, which is kicking off at the end of September into the beginning of October this year in Abu Dhabi. The focus is really on what does the future look like, not just in terms of skills, but in terms of AI, technology, and bridging that gap. We've got a fantastic selection of keynote speakers, industry panels, and it promises to be a really fruitful couple of days. So I'd urge anyone interested to check out our website.
I've been Ed Reed, editor of E-FWD, where we're always moving the conversation forward.